Hello and welcome back to Building a High Capacity Board for PACE Center for Girls. My name is Nona Jones and I have the pleasure of serving as Chief External Affairs Officer at PACE, and we're so glad to have you join us today. I'm joined by President and CEO of PACE Center for Girls, Mary Marx, as well as Boys and Girls Clubs of America President Emeritus Roxanne Spillett. So this is our final segment in our board development series, and today we're going to talk about articulating a compelling case. That's fundamental to both board development as well as fundraising, and in our prior segment, Roxanne alluded to that. So we're going to spend some time on that. We must be able to give people a reason why they should invest in PACE out of the many options that they have to invest their hard-earned dollars and precious time. So Roxanne, we'll start with you. Can you kind of discuss how you were able to come to this compelling case for Boys and Girls Clubs of America, as well as branding, and I know that you had to make some changes there as well.
Yeah, so I think that's a good way to frame the question, because fundraising is not only a function of asking for money, so that your organization's mission has to resonate, your organization's story, the human face you put on that story, the plan for the future, and the brand itself. All of that creates a climate for an ask. And development people can be the best in the world, but if they don't have an organization with a solid plan and gift opportunities that resonate with donors, then it's going to be hard to raise money. So I'm encouraging us to think about fundraising in its broadest context. That's who we are, our mission, the gift opportunities we have to offer donors, the talent we have on the board and the staff, as well as the plan for the organization and the brand. So all of that kind of sets the stage for effective fundraising. And in most organizations that are really effective in fundraising, you'll see they have a really strong brand, they have a really strong plan, they have a really strong board, they have talented staff, so all of this is connected. But in the end, I think what is true for Boys and Girls Club is also true for PACE. What we're about, and we started on this note, is about changing and saving lives. There's no question about it. And not only just their lives, but if we do the right job developing the future citizens and leaders and parents, we're going to change their children's lives and their outcomes, change a community, and we're going to change a culture and the country. And so our job is so important and so big that we need people to come with us. And this is the opportunity to paint that compelling case. Not for you, you're not gaining from this, but for the girls.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mary, we spent some time earlier talking about kind of the legislative process and the role that you have to play in that. So what's the case that you're making to legislators on why they should appropriate public dollars to PACE? And there's so many other options. How do you do that?
It's the same story that Roxanne was just describing. It's an art and a science, and it really is about what resonates with that individual legislator and what is the role that they play. So it's very, very important in the legislative process. I think one of the things that PACE has been very, very good at is the advocacy role and really understanding what advocacy means. And what it means is that you can't walk into a legislator's office and they don't know who you are. And you can't walk into a legislator's office who hasn't at least connected with a girl at PACE. So they know who she is. I've walked into Senate leadership's offices where they've actually known the names of girls. And that's very powerful and it's very significant. But you also then have to be able to articulate, as a result of your investment, what is going to be different. You know, and in the case of the majority of our leaders at the state level have a fiscal and fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers. So they need to know that this is a wise investment and what will be different as a result. And so having the data, you know, having the outcomes, having the impact data, and going through this evaluation that we're going through now, which will really be able to prove the long-term, you know, return on investment to them.
That's you know, really right on target. I mean, the credibility of an organization rests with its outcomes. But there's another dimension too that's increasingly important, and I'm sure you've encountered this many times too, both in the public and private sector. It's called return on investment. So
Absolutely.
for what investment will you produce what results? And so your efficiency and your effectiveness is measured by the true outcomes, which in my mind, you know, is the number one story, but also the return on investment. You know, we would say in Boys and Girls Clubs that we can serve a boy or a girl for $1,000 a year. Of course, we don't have, education is not our,
Sure.
we don't have schools in our clubs, but to incarcerate, to educate $1,000 a year, to incarcerate $40,000 a year. I
Absolutely.
mean, the choice is yours. So we have to show that we're making not just progress and outcomes, but we have an excellent return on investment.
And I think some of the tools that I certainly would recommend to our board members to make sure that they read is certainly our annual reports to stay up on, you know, well, what are the outcomes, what are the stories of the girls whose lives were changing. Also our fast facts documents, which really talks about at the center level, you know, how many girls were served, what is the profile of that girl, how many girls, you know, successfully graduated from the program, and then we talk about also the aggregate level PACE as an organization, how many girls we served. I think those are a couple tools that board members can use to really understand what we do and why.
And to go back to really what is resonating with the elected officials, it really is the use of data. You know, the fact that we have all of this data, we understand the profile of the girls we're serving, we understand what that return on investment is and can demonstrate that.
We used for many years, and although our data gathering and evaluation at Boys and Girls Clubs is much more sophisticated than it was, we did an alumni survey. And so, you know, you're only 30 years, so we had a lot of alumni to
We're a
to
fifth of
pick
the way
from.
there.
But consistently, and we did it every 3 years, I mean, they would say the same thing, and, you know, kept me out of trouble with the law. It helped me succeed in school, helped me graduate from all this, and then the bottom line was 57% said the club saved my life. But as articulate as we can be, there's our club members and the girls in our centers who can tell the story as well.
They are the best advocates.
They are.
The best. That is what resonates with the donors when they get to meet the girls, and whether that donor is a private sector donor or a public sector donor. It's hearing from a girl who's able to tell her story about how her life has been changed or how her life is being changed.
And I think it too goes back to not only the girls whose lives are being changed, but also recognizing the type of staff that we have and the fact that the people serving the girls are truly there for the girls, because these are people who could teach anywhere else, but they've decided that, no, I want to serve this population. And so I think that they're also critical to the outcomes that the girls are experiencing.
And you hear that from the girls when you ask them what's different, and you know, having them testify in front of Senate committees when they really talk about how PACE wraps its arms around them and really doesn't take no for an answer and continues to reach out and protect those girls and bring them along even if they don't want to come.
Yeah, if they don't want to come. And that gets to our tagline of believing in girls. I think believing in girls is such a powerful statement, because to believe in someone is essentially to believe that they're capable of things they don't even believe they're capable of yet. And I talk to girls sometimes and they're like, I really don't know why I'm here. I'm going to fail. I'm a failure. But then you talk to them once they are getting ready to leave the program, and they're like, they're like, I could do anything. I could be president of the United States. I could do anything. And so I think you're right. Articulating what the program does for the girls is really what resonates with potential funders. So anything you all would like to add? I think we've talked a lot about the case and why it's so important to make it compelling.
Well, and thank you for hosting us. I just think this conference is an extraordinary opportunity to hear from somebody who truly is the leader in the nation for having taken an organization that does similar kind of work to that, to being the national model.
Absolutely. Anything you'd like to add, Roxanne?
Takes an army. But no, I'm very glad I'm involved with PACE, and I feel very strongly in its mission and its vision. And I think it's the right vision at the right time, and very important for girls, very important for the country.
Thank you. Well, I would end on a note that I think you started with, Mary, is the fact that PACE was born out of a recognition that the system that was designed to prevent children from going into juvenile delinquency wasn't fitting the needs of girls. And so clearly PACE has been incredibly successful in meeting the needs of girls, and certainly I would say that our volunteer leaders have contributed very strongly to that. So we certainly thank you for taking the time to watch this. Hope you gleaned a lot from it. My contact information will be provided to you. My team in External Affairs stands ready to partner with you so that we all can collectively enhance the capacity of PACE Center for Girls to serve more girls now and into the future. Thanks for watching.